Well, the Prime Minister here has dismissed calls to withdraw the state visit invitation from President Trump. But should it be cancelled because of that behaviour towards, very clearly, our ally, President Zelensky? Zoe Gardner from the Stop Trump Coalition says the US is no longer on our side. Don't invite him to Windsor. Political consultant Suzanne Evans thinks not being involved with America would be dangerous for world peace. Welcome to you both. Suzanne, if he came, let's say next week, it would be a sort of disaster for President Trump because he's going to get heckled, booed, there'll be protests.
So what's new, Susanna? Trump is used to this, isn't he? Wherever he goes, there is something that's unofficially called Trump derangement syndrome. There are some people that absolutely hate him, and it doesn't matter what he says or what he does, they think he's in the wrong. And you'll remember on his last state visit during his first term, he was heckled, there was trouble, but actually it passed off without incident.
Don't you think he is in the wrong on this?
It's interesting. So the clip that you've just played, it obviously shows verbal fisticuffs, and it makes great television, as Trump himself said at the end of that press conference. But if you look at the whole 50 minutes of that press conference, the first 40 minutes where Trump was being very conciliatory, he was praising Zelensky, he was talking about how resilient his troops had been, he was talking about how America was going to support Ukraine going forward. And then Zelensky actually pushed a few buttons. He started to criticise Trump. He criticised his view. He had a pop at J.D.
quite
Vance
reasonably, because he
points.
criticised his view about President Putin.
What he criticised, I think, was the fact that Zelensky wants to keep the war going. I think Trump genuinely does want peace. And whatever you think of the man, I think that is his ultimate aim. But Zelensky, you see, I think right from the start of this has tried to escalate this conflict.
Well, presumably because he wants Russia out of his country.
Yeah, I think that would
that's
probably be why,
realistic.
because it's Russian troops that aggressively invaded Ukrainian territory. The idea that it's Zelensky who wants to keep the war going is patently absurd. Everybody in Europe wants peace in Ukraine, but peace on whose terms? What Trump has shown us utterly clearly, and we need to wake up and smell the coffee on this, he is on Putin's side. He is echoing, word for word, the Kremlin talking points on this. We need to recognise that the US is not Zelensky's ally and is not our ally on this.
But even if you are correct, and there are lots of people who would agree with you on that, the question is, if you want peace in Ukraine, is that best served by trying to get Trump to the right place or by cancelling the state visit? Would cancelling the state visit make it more likely would get peace for Ukraine?
Well, I think if we put in Trump's place, we put in Putin, because that is what we are actually dealing with in the real world. If we invited Putin on a state visit to the UK, do we think that would aid the cause of a just peace in Ukraine? Of course it wouldn't.
That's not what a state visit is about.
Yeah, but that's not the question. The question is that we have invited Trump. If you cancelled the invitation, would it make it more likely that we'd get a deal
Here's the
between
thing, I
Ukraine and
think
Russia?
that by appeasing Trump, by tickling his tummy and giving him this offer of meeting the king and making him feel special, you get absolutely zero guarantees of any future behaviour in our favour or in... As we saw, 24 hours later, he was berating and haranguing Zelensky in the Oval Office.
So what about if we use the state visit? Because we know that President Trump was thrilled to bits with that when Sir Keir Starmer flourished that invitation. It means a lot to him. He feels very connected and respectful of the royal family. What if we use it as leverage?
But we've lost our chance to lose
No,
it as
haven't,
leverage.
because-
We've given it up front
because
for nothing.
The visit has not happened.
Well,
and
yeah,
the
but
visit can be delayed and delayed and delayed.
I think the
so
visit should
perhaps
be
we could
cancelled on the basis that if Trump were to show himself to entirely change his entire politics and disown his friendship with Putin, then perhaps it could be put back on the table. But at this point,
Suzanne,
we've given it all up front for nothing.
Can we leverage it now?
Yeah, absolutely we can. Cancelling it would be a disaster. What are we going to say? We're going to put a snub out to the world's largest democracy. That's just simply not feasible.
It also suggests that the King's word is not to be trusted.
It suggests the King's word's not to be trusted. It's making him a political pawn. I think it's wrong, full stop. It's, in a sense, student politics at its worst, I think.
I think it's
this isn't somebody
utterly
being
naive
invited to make
act
a
as though
speech and then cancel. This is
treat
geopolitics,
Trump like any
diplomacy.
other politician in the past. We are in a new world now, and Trump has made it clear that he has Firstly, he's besties with Putin. Secondly,
No, he's
he
not
has
besties with Putin.
colonial...
I'm sorry. I'm not
everything
here to
that he's
defend
put
Trump.
forward in terms of the...
I'm not here to defend Trump. But look, what he said himself...
By the way,
at that
you
press
sound like you're
conference-
defending Trump.
No, I'm not
Quite a
defending
lot.
Trump. He was asked the question. He said, you're aligning yourself with Putin. And he said, look, I'm aligning myself with both of them.
What
but
does
really,
the deal
I'm
that
aligning
he...
myself
What
with the
are the
USA.
concessions that he has asked for from Putin? None whatsoever.
Biden-
Putin gets as much territory as he wants. Trump gets his colonial deal to exploit the minerals that he wants. And Zelensky has to give up, Ukraine has to give up, and European security for the foreseeable future,
Bottom line,
our security and Putin's interest against the UK's.
Do you want peace or do you want war? The fact is,
peace
as Trump said,
is more than a
Ukraine
cessation of
can't
hostilities.
win
You
this war.
cannot win peace
OK.
on Putin's
Can I just
terms.
ask about your
not what Trump's
organisation?
trying
Your
to do.
organisation is called the Stop Trump Coalition. I mean, stop Trump from being president. You've been
not calling for any
You've been in
drastic
existence for
action of
about
that kind.
9 years, so you clearly haven't succeeded yet. What is success for the Stop Trump Coalition? What do you need to do to have succeeded?
Well, I think...
I mean,
yeah, no, I think it's a
does he
really
need to
important
expire?
question. So, no, it's not like that. I think what we
What is your aim?
exist to do is to channel the huge groundswell of dislike for Trump and more specifically, for Trump's brand of politics that we are seeing gaining ground across Europe and also in the UK. So where we're seeing our government, you know, we're talking about defence spending. What are we talking, who's going to pay for that? So far, we've seen that our government is following in Trump's footsteps, cutting aid from the poorest people in the world. Unless they get rid of their fiscal rules, who is going to pay for this increased securitisation that we need?
you know,
We asked the viewers what they thought about President Trump's historic second state visit. No other leader has been invited twice in this way. Should it be cancelled? 41% of you said yes, rescind the invitation, tear it up. 59% of you said no, he still needs to come. We don't want to stop Trump. So thank you both very much indeed for that.
Thank you very much.
Susanna and Zoe.